Their performance was compared in the presence and absence of tangible reinforcements. It is critical to remain objective and true to the employee's accomplishments. I examined the impact of tangible and verbal reinforcements on the performance levels of admissions counselors. What I did then was I evaluated the log and I utilized the quantitative analysis in determining the admissions counselor's motivating factors. Through evaluating the admissions counselor's performance when they received tangible rewards and when they received verbal reinforcements for their performance. What this evaluation did was it assisted me in determining the admissions counselor's motivating factors. So here's a chart that outlines the results. So during phase one, the admissions counselors achieved a total of 22 enrollments. For each enrollment, the admissions counselor received a tangible reward. In phase two of the study, the admissions counselors achieved 26 enrollments. For each enrollment, they were given a verbal reinforcement. Now, there were several exemplary cases where admissions counselors received 5 enrollments during phase 2. Here's a continuation of the results. One admissions counselor achieved 7 enrollments in phase 1. This chart outlines all of the results. The results presented are important because they show that verbal reinforcements were a strong motivating factor for admissions counselors. During phase 1 of the study, the admissions counselors achieved 22 enrollments. For every enrollment, they received a tangible reward. In phase 2 of the study, the admissions counselors achieved 26 enrollments. For every enrollment, they received a verbal reinforcement. The results of the study prove that verbal reinforcements act as a stronger motivating factor for admissions counselors. 3 of the admissions counselors achieved 5 enrollments in phase 2, while only 1 admissions counselor achieved 7 enrollments in phase 1. The counselors were clearly motivated by the verbal reinforcements rather than the tangible reinforcements. So you may ask yourself, why were these employees more motivated by verbal reinforcements than the tangible rewards? One possibility is that the extrinsic value of the tangible rewards chosen. These rewards included chocolates, candies, candles, picture frames, hand lotion. There was some attempt made to offer employees rewards that actually matched their individual tastes according to their gender and their personality. However, a possibility is that there was just not enough value in the extrinsic rewards to make a difference. Another possibility is that employees who work in this position are career professionals who view their self-worth through a lens of effectiveness at their job. Such employees are more likely to be motivated by verbal reinforcements from their superiors than even high-value tangible rewards. Another way of viewing the issue of employee motivation is that it's important to take an individual approach. Leadership in this area may just entail getting to know each individual employee and finding out what drives them specifically. Extrinsic rewards do not motivate all employees. The results of this study prove that not every admissions counselor was motivated by tangible reinforcements. The admissions counselors who achieved 7 enrollments in phase 1 and 2 enrollments in phase 2 were clearly employees that were motivated by extrinsic rewards. The remaining counselors achieved most of their enrollments in phase 2. Therefore, the majority of the counselors were motivated by verbal reinforcements. It's important for all managers to find a way to motivate their employees. What this study does is it provides managers with an insight on the employee's motivating factors to achieve his or her goals. Managers of admissions counselors should get to know each of their employees, and as they get to know them, they're going to find out their key motivating factors. This study revealed many insights about the team of the participants studied. It's so important for a manager to experiment with schemes and determine the outcome of the schemes. After the schemes take place, the manager should evaluate each of the employees' motivating factors. Here are all my references for the study. I'm going to open up the floor for any questions, and here's my contact information.
Great. Thank you so much, Miriam.
Thank you.
A lot of this information is very helpful with regards to, I know coming from an admissions counseling office myself at the University of New Haven in Connecticut, I oversaw our undergraduate counseling staff, and I can definitely provide a good testament that the pat on the back and a great job always definitely goes a lot farther than some sort of tangible gift that you might be able to give from time to time. What I'll do is I can open up the floor to questions. There are a couple of open ones, I believe, and I'll pull those up. So if you have any questions for Miriam on her expertise, please feel free to post those into the box on the right-hand side, and we'll be able to answer those for the rest of this presentation. The first question Keith asks, are you able to offer a cash bonus? I know that I'll answer first from the nonprofit side, if you don't mind, Miriam. I know that nonprofit institutions are unable to have a cash bonus incentive. That's why the opportunity to provide small things like lotions and chocolates and those sorts of things are always looked at as opportunities for motivation. I'm not sure if you have any experience with cash bonuses, Miriam, but I know that from a NACAC perspective and those sorts of things, I'm pretty sure there are guidelines against that. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely guidelines against cash bonuses. And actually, I worked for one for-profit proprietary college where they actually gave a graduation bonus. So if the student, so it was an incentive for the admissions counselor to keep communicating with the students. So if the student graduated from the college, at the end, once they graduated, the admissions counselor received a cash bonus. But other than that, I've never heard of any cash bonuses in the admissions field.
Okay. We have a question from Margaret. She has a question about timing. She knows that in some weeks, getting enrollments is just better than others. The question is it about timing, or is it necessarily what their boss did?
I think she's right. There's different seasons. Like I know sometimes I believe it's June can be really slow. I know in the summer they're ramping up for the fall. So, and now this time is actually a pretty slow time, right, Gil?
Yes. After next week.
Right. Yeah, so it is different timings, but it's so important to just really keep the team motivated. Maybe do some team exercises with the teams. I once did this exercise with my team that really went a long way, more than I even anticipated that it would. I had everybody write down, go around in a circle, pass around a paper, and write down just something an adjective to describe the person. And everybody just had a list of maybe somebody wrote really smart or, fashionable or really enjoyable to be around. And they ended up laminating that and keeping that by their desks. And that motivated them. It's just the little things, writing notes, letting the whole team know that they're appreciated. And
if I can just add to that,
I answered your question.
I think it did. I think just to add to that I believe that one of the reasons why we chose this time of year for this presentation is because this is really the end of a recruitment cycle, with May 1st being the deadline for most institutions for enrollment deposits. And this is a time of year when admissions counselors really do get burned out from having gone through a fall travel season and then reading season and a spring travel season. So the intent is to really kind of figure out ways to keep your team happy and motivated so that they don't get burned out, so you don't lose them, because there are a lot of great people that work in higher education and work in admissions and enrollment management. So by identifying ways that are not financial because budgets are tight and you're not going to get any more money and you can't do bonuses. So how do you motivate your team? And I think that the things you touched on with regards to verbal communication and verbal affirmation of people's work crosses more than just the admissions world. It goes to many workplaces. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely. And I want to share with you something else that I did when I was doing the verbal reinforcements and, saying, way to go, great job, you're changing people's lives. We have an internal program. It's like a texting program. We had that at Kaiser where I could just have my team on it. And what I would do is when one of the counselors, changed a student's life, had an enrollment, I would type it in there, awesome job, Melissa, you're changing students' lives. And it kind of helped bring up the energy with the team. It helped get everybody really excited about everybody helping students and changing their lives. So that's just a little tidbit. If you have an internal messaging program, it was called Mixie. I don't know if everybody has that, but that's something that, or even just sending out an email to everybody on your team, letting them know what everybody else is doing. So you encourage everyone.
Great, thank you. See an open questions box. So we're going to leave the questions open for another minute or two. See if there are any other questions that you might have based on this research. I know that it looks like you're everywhere: telephone, email, the Twitter, the Facebook, all that sort of stuff. So I'm sure you're available for any questions after this as well. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. If you want to connect with me, please feel free to give me a call. You can send me an email. You can connect on Twitter or Facebook. And you can visit us on our website at askacci.com.
Great. Looks like we have a question from Erica, and this one's addressed to me. Nice. From a nonprofit perspective, what is my experience in timing and balance for a director or dean getting to know their staff versus professional development? Me personally, I don't think those need to be exclusive of each other. I think that you can get to know your staff at professional development events. I actually, during the presentation, I sent out a tweet using the hashtag Zinch, if anybody is a tweeter out there, where I posed the question of what conferences do your team members attend? And I know that a lot of schools, in the Northeast anyway, where I'm from, their staff really bonds together when they attend conferences together. So whether it's your regional association or a NACAC conference, going as a group, and I know it does take budget, and it does take people out of the office, but I think 1 or 2 conferences a year is going to pay huge dividends in the amount of work your team will get done when they're back in the office because they're refreshed and motivated and learning from outside of the institution as well. I think that's my experience of supervising an admissions counseling staff at a nonprofit school is very similar to Miriam's, really, that people like to be recognized for their work, and they like to know that their supervisor has an interest in their development as an employee. And I know that that's how I respond very well with people I work with now is having that opportunity to develop and grow within your group.
Right, absolutely. And I definitely agree with that, with the professional development and going out with your team members to different conferences like NACAC. At Kaiser, once or twice a year, they had the whole admissions department go on a retreat. And it really helped. It really helped with getting everybody motivated and refreshed and excited about what we do when they came back.
Great. Well, thank you again, Miriam, for your time today.
You.
We really appreciate your insights on your research.